Hey everyone, I have to laugh. I use StreamYard to work with Facebook for this, and it times me down over the last 5 seconds, 5 minutes. It's a bit like NASA and moon flights and all that. It doesn't do it out loud; it only does it on the screen. And then when we get to the moment when I'm supposed to hit the live button, it says "Showtime! Come on!" I have to laugh. But it's very actually fitting with what I want to talk about tonight. I said earlier today on Wise Woman that I wanted to talk about stories, about storytelling, and how super important it is for all of our lives. Lots and lots of people, from Campbell downwards. Campbell's a marvelous American philosopher and psychologist type, mostly philosopher. Yeah, he was actually behind a lot of the plotting for Star Wars and several other films like that too. And he says there's really only like one framework for all stories. And as a writer and author, and I write novels, as you know, I found it's true. He breaks this down into quite a lot of little pieces, but basically, stories sort of go like this. I mean, there's a beginning, middle, and an end. There is, all of them. Even if the end is a bit sort of like, whoa, what was happening there? That it still comes to an end. And then the stories begin usually with something like what many philosophers call an unfulfilled hero, by the gender, any gender. An unfulfilled person who knows there's something there that they're searching for, that they want, and they know they've got to go, and they've got this feeling of urgency, of unfulfilledness, and they have to do it. And then something happens. Can be a really little thing, like I think it happens in The Hobbit, and Bilbo wakes up, and it's a really nice morning, and so he decides, I'll just go for a walk. And all hell breaks loose from there. Or in The Lord of the Rings, Frodo's having a birthday party, so he's having his 111st birthday party, and it's all happening. So there's a big event, it's all going to happen, and all hell breaks loose from there. It doesn't usually start off as all hell breaking loose, though. Something happens, and this unfulfilled person, this unfulfilled hero, is called. They have to go. So they go. And at first, it's often pretty good and pretty, wow, what a morning. Oh, look at that robin. Oh, there's a kestrel up there. Look at these trees. Look at the blossoms. Smell the grass, etc. And this goes on for quite a while. And possibly even, a little dwarf hops out of a bush and so goes, yeah, come with me. We're going to have fun. And you do, and it's okay. And then things start to go a bit wobbly. You run into those trolls. Remember the 3 trolls who are going to eat Bilbo? And they got him up on a spit and the whole job. And he kept them talking. He kept asking them questions, and he kept being awkward. So they couldn't quite get there until the sun rose, and they all suddenly became stone. They were petrified into stone by the sun. So Bilbo sort of starts off, for instance, as he's a nice bloke, but he's awfully naive and kindly and quite nice and unsuspicious, and everything's okay with him, like many people are. So, dwarf out of here. dragon out of here, troll out of here, spider out of there. And it starts to happen. And Bilbo is educated by these happenings along the way. He grows, he learns, he changes. He doesn't stop being nice. He doesn't lose that niceness. He becomes very fierce. He also becomes quite a trickster, which he manages very well with Thorin and also with the dragon. And he manages to talk the dragon out of his way so that he can get Thorin's treasure and bring it back. And then he talks around Thorin in order to get Thorin to do what he needs. Even to the doorway, he learns to be tricky, and he learns to notice, and he learns to watch. And so he sees the thrush who's in the foretelling poem. And he's able then to see the sunlight, which shows him the key, which shows him the keyhole that opens the door into the cave, into the dragon's cave, into the cave with all the gold. And he comes home a much wiser person. And he's had all these, what we call in storytelling, supporters and opposers. So, you know, remember going through the wood with all the spiders web, or the trolls, you know, I mean, those are opposers. They're real harsh testers. And they could really do him in. He manages to get through them. And then there are others, and I can't remember the name of the wonderful animal man, the bear man. And he's dangerous and he's tricky, but he's not nasty and he's not evil, and he's not going to do anybody in unless they hurt one of his animals, in which case, no quarter. And he gets around him and he gets to learn to speak with him and work with him. And he learns the same with the eagles. And they help him too. And so he learns how to work with supporters and how to work with and get round, and if necessary, do in the opposers. So he's a much, much wider and bigger person by the time he finishes the story. And he does pass a lot of that on by telling the stories and writing his book, of course, to Frodo. And Frodo has learned from the stories of Bilbo's adventures, the stories of what happened. Remember what has it got in its pockets is, and tricking Gollum like that when he was about to be eaten. But he just managed to get that question out, and Gollum had to take it because of the almost fundamental rules that stood around them both in this world. And so he saved his life, by a snap. And think what that taught him. And then think, when he told Frodo, how Frodo learned from that story, and how he remembered about the Mirkwood, and how he learned about the river, and how he knew about the eagles. Remember at the end of Lord of the Rings, where they're just about dying on the mountain after his throat after Gollum's bitten his finger off and then fallen into the volcano. So the ring has gone into the volcano as it was supposed to. And they crawled out, or Sam drags him out, and they're just lying there. We can't go anywhere. Mission over, end, and draw lines sort of thing. And the eagles come. And the eagles carry them back. And there's a whole lot of learning in there about you've done what you needed to do and you've actually given up control. You're actually not trying to fix anything. You're just saying, I've done it. If I'm supposed to go home, get me home. Otherwise, I die here on the mountain. And that's right too. So again, Frodo and Sam are huge people, far bigger than they were when they started the story, and they come to the end. And at the very end of Lord of the Rings, when Sam has gone with Frodo and seen him sail off with the elves and Bilbo, and it's all over, and Merry and Pippin are crying and they've gone, and Sam walks on home alone, and he turns up at his garden gate, and there's Rosie and the baby, a little girl now, and he said, opens the gate, shuts it, and says, "Well, I'm back." That's the last words. That's the last words in the book. And I mean, what an ending. And it tells you so much that's almost not able to be put in words about how Sam has grown and how Sam has changed. And from the person, the eavesdropping gardener, clipping away under the window, trying to listen to what Gandalf was saying, getting plucked out, you can go with him there. From that person to the person who can come home full of sadness and yet full of joy, both together, and say, "Well, I'm back." This is what stories do. They take us through life. And life isn't just everyday living. It isn't just about body and, the house you live in and your shopping and your cat and your car and all the rest of it. Life is about all of the life inside you, how you grow, how you're not the same person that you were 10 years ago, 10 minutes ago even. That you have changed. And stories help you to learn that change. And they also help you to make sense of it. Because usually, there's an old phrase which said, people are as bad as cats at change. And cats are not. They don't like to get out of their routine. Yes, they can handle it. But they like to have things where they know where they are and they can do this, and then they can have an adventure in the garden or up the lane or across the field or something. And they can come back and it's all right and everything's stable. And people are like that. All us humans are like that too. We like to have a stable place. Perhaps all animals do. I sometimes wonder about raptors. Some raptors, I'm thinking of ospreys particularly now. And yet they do. Every summer, Mr. and Mrs. Osprey at Telin and Idris, Dovey Osprey, every summer they go off to Africa, to North Africa, and they spend the summer apart. Holidays apart are great, and they have a marvelous time warming and sunning and getting over having the kids and rejuvenating and eating and getting your feathers straight, all this kind of stuff. And then next spring, February sometimes, certainly March, they fly back. They fly back to their nest, their home, their stability. They've had their adventures and their lovely time, in the spas and the hotels and whatever it is ospreys do in North Africa. They had a wonderful time there. And now they come back to their stability. And Bilbo and Frodo do that, don't they? They come back to Bag End. And eventually even Bag End can't be stable enough for Frodo, so he has to go with the elves across the seas to Elfland, to the stability. So we need that, but we also need the Osprey holiday in North Africa. We need the adventures in the Mirkwood. We may even need to climb Mount Doom and to wrestle with Gollum in such weird ways, because Frodo really cares about Gollum at the end. And you read it, Gollum even cares about Frodo. Cares about the ring, and he has to have the ring. And Frodo knows that feeling too, because at the end he won't take it off and throw it. But they do care for each other. They do look after each other, and it's more than just caring about the ring. And this deepens them, and it deepens their relationship with everything else. Stories make sense of that for us. Stories help us with that. Now, as I said at the beginning, I use it all the time because I write novels. I also use it when I'm teaching, because this is a mainstay part of the apprenticeship. So if you like stories and you like the idea of storytelling, even if it scares the shit out of you, that's absolutely fine. It does everybody. And we will manage it, really. You know, all my students managed it fine this year and last year, and they will again in the coming year. But if you like the idea of storytelling and you like the idea of using it, how our ancestors used it as teaching, as recording growth that is not, 1066 and dates and all that. It's growth of person, it's growth of you, it's growth of you plus the world around you, plus your relationships of everything else. If you fancy that, you'll probably like the apprenticeship, because we use storytelling as a way of sharing journeys. So people go out. I mean, just coming up to this year's long workshop, 5-day workshop. And on 3 of those days, all of the students are going to go out alone, out on the hills, out on my Stretton Hills around here, which are quite wild. And you can go a long way without seeing another human being. But you see tons of wildlife, tons of views, tons of glorious streams and trees, and whoa, I didn't know that bog was there, and this kind of thing. And they go out with a purpose, asking to meet spirit in the more, an otherworldly being, who may come in the guise of a stone chat, or a weasel running across the road, or ponies. My last visit up there, I was visited by ponies, but I mean, they were also otherworldly beings as well, who were teaching me things. And they go to meet these beings, and they say, my purpose here on the workshop, and it usually is on the 5-day workshop because it's towards the end of the year course. My purpose is to learn about service. That's what we do. That's what all our Wanesian shamans, as you might like call us, all of us magic workers do. We serve. And if we're nice people, we don't serve ourselves. We serve Mother Earth and everything, whether it's seen or unseen. And we put ourselves out, we put ourselves there, we give ourselves to say, how can we help you do what you need to do? And we don't try and fix it. And this is something that they learn, everybody learns on the apprenticeship. You don't try and fix it for Mother Earth. You ask Mother Earth what she needs. And that's quite hard work. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? I've been teaching this stuff for over 30 years now, and students come in, oh yeah, I can do that. First lesson, crash, flat on arse. Banana, flat on arse. Because we actually don't have any practice. So the apprenticeship, through otherworldly beings, some of whom are actually in this world as well, they help us and teach us to learn to listen and look, and to learn and listen and look what's going on around us, but even more deeply, they teach us how to learn and listen and look inside. Because it's the inside that stops you seeing the outside. It's what's inside you stops you seeing what is outside, what is around you, everything that is there. Stops you noticing even, because you've got a load of habits and a load of preconceptions and a load of expectations. And people, oh, I don't have any expectations. That immediately says to me, oh, yes, you have. Somebody who comes along and goes, probably do have. I'm not quite sure I know them well. I go, right, you started. You're getting there. You're on the way. It doesn't matter even if they come along and say, I haven't got any expectations. We can still work with it. And the apprenticeship works with that, and it helps you. It takes you through that. But you've got to make sense of it, haven't you? You go on a journey and you meet this creature, and the creature puts up lots of challenges for you. Some of which might be sort of like trolls or spiders, and some of which might be really helpful, like Born, that's him, the bear man. Some of them might be really helpful, and some of them might be kindly, as Gandalf often is, and some of them might be very much more tricky. And so they all help you to come to know yourself. And, oh, I didn't see that one coming, or oh, I fell for that one, or that wasn't at all like what I expected, which is a phrase that I hear several times every season on All the Work. That wasn't a bit like what I expected. I think, what did I tell you about those expectations? Phrase we use. Be full of expectancy, but have no expectations. Live up to that if you can. I'm probably closer to it than you, but I'm not brilliant. I have an expectation of, oh, missed again. Didn't see that because I expected this, so I didn't look there and see that. So, in order to know what you've learned on your journey, because that's the important thing, it's not how many dragons you met or how many unicorns came and kissed you, or whether you rode on a flying horse or anything like that. It's not about that. All of the creatures, whether they're flying horses or unicorns or whatever, or robins or grass snakes or whatever, all of them are trying to show you something about how you see the world and how you could see the world instead, if you like to do the things and change. And they will help you do them and show you through it. So you come home and you've got to make sense of that. Well, one of the things we don't do, and not that you can't, but we don't encourage on the apprenticeship, is we don't make notes. We doodle, so we scrawl about all over a piece of paper with thoughts as they came, and pretty nearly everybody takes a book and a pen with them. Some people use the voice recorder on their phone. I do, because it's often easier. And so I just say whatever it is in my head. It doesn't have to be grammatically sensible or anything like that. I just say it. So I sort of doodle voice words into my phone. And then when I get home, I can collect them all together and doodle them all over a page. I use a really big page like this, can't remember what it is, A1 or A0 or something, and crayons, so I can't draw little tiddly things. I scroll, and I scroll in colours. So the first thing people do when they come home, and they're going to do it, it's about 10 days' time, when they come on the course, on the workshop, is draw their memories and their doodles, and they make linking lines that connect them, like mind maps. That, when I saw the robin, and it connected to when I nearly fell in that pool and the frog spawn that I saw over there. And it did. And then they can remember the connection. So they do that, have a cup of tea, maybe go and sit in the garden or something like that. And then with the drawing and with the cup of tea, and on their own, not sharing and chit-chatting at the moment. And they say, how can I put this into a story? And they're asking otherworld, they're asking their guides, their familiar spirits, their teacher, help me, show me how to put this into a story so I can tell everybody, so that everybody will get the picture fairly like what I saw, what I felt, so that I can really share what I felt, not the words, but the feelings and the sensations. That's what good storytelling does. It's like in here and in your gut, not all in your head. And so they sit there and they do that, and they might jot a couple of words or a bit of a mind map or something to guide them, or not. Quite often they don't. Quite often that's done. Then we all gather back together after supper and we tell each other our story. And I've never had a bad story. Like I said, I've been doing it this long, like over 30 years. And I've never had a bad story from a student. Not when they work it like this. They're all lovely, brilliant. And often you go, wow, I wouldn't have seen that. I wouldn't have thought of that. I'd never have known that. And we all do. So the sharing of the stories expands the experience for everyone. It's really lovely. I love the workshops anyway, but it's one of the most thrilly bits of the whole workshop is, I wonder what I'm going to hear tonight. What fun. It's gorgeous. So that's what we do. And by the end, I mean, this is what, lesson 6 now out of 8. By this time, they're quite experienced at that, and they're quite experienced at looking at themselves, and they're quite accustomed to the fact that, oh God, I made that mistake again. And oh, I didn't see that coming. And hey, this was absolutely amazing. And they're good at allowing all that. Because they're all lovely people. Nobody sits there judging anybody else. Everybody makes comments, and some of them can be quite, pointed and, but you didn't ask that. Why? I think, I never thought of asking that. Oh. And so somebody else's, one of your colleagues' comments can actually open up something for you that you hadn't thought of. And of course yours for them in a similar sort of way. And the whole experience of telling stories and knowing that the story was a part of you, that it came out of your whole experience, not out of your head, out of your experience. Knowing that and then sharing it with other people, it teaches you so much. You learn so much. We do a lot of sharing on the apprenticeship. It's a really important part of the course, and we do a lot of it actually on Facebook. There's secret groups for each year of students, so only people on the group are you and your colleagues and me and Fiona. And so there isn't anybody who's going to go at you. There's nobody who's going to be snarky or trollish or anything like that. And everybody learns that everybody fears things. Everybody gets scared. Everybody's embarrassed. Everybody has things in their past that they wish to God they'd never done. And it's actually okay to share them. That nobody's going to go and attack you for it. They may offer you a lot of help and suggestions as to how to work through this now, if it's correctable, and not everything is, but if it's correctable, then to help you find ways to make it okay in Mother Earth's terms, in your garden's terms, in the wildlife terms, with your dog or your horse or your cat or whatever, and to make it, not make it better, but ways to love again. It's important because so often when we've done something that really hurts us, that we wish we'd never done, we stop loving. And first of all, we stop loving ourselves because we hate ourselves for having done it. And we can stop loving the other person because if they hadn't been there, we wouldn't have done it. And I'm sure you know these things. And when you find that there's somewhere safe to share them, when somebody else says, yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, licked the stamp, and you say, what was yours? And so they tell you, and you go, oh my goodness me, poor thing, how are you? You know, how are you doing now after that? And people care. And they find caring is okay. And they learn to spread that out into the whole of Mother Earth. And this is the good bit, well, they're all good, but this is to me one of the brilliant bits. They find that the otherworldly beings that they work with, their familiars, their teachers, their guides, their spirit family, all of these people, even the really big guys, you know, like Merlin or somebody, they're not going to beat you up for it either. As soon as you start to say it, you almost feel this curling round of arms. Yeah, I know. Okay, we can't fix that. We can't ever put the milk back in the bottle. But, and you sort of say, but what can I do? And they say, try this. Try this. And they help you, and you find ways to stop being closed up and petrified like those trolls in the sun. You're becoming stone inside. You find ways of relaxing. And it's okay with them. It's okay with otherworld. Otherworld are not going to beat you up. Other humans beat you up. Try and avoid those sort of humans. Really helps. But otherworld aren't. They are not like that. And that is one of the big things I found over the 30 years of helping people to know that this is not this nasty old man in the sky going, you should have done like that. They're not like that. That's a human invention. It's not reality. They may occasionally tear you off a strip or two. So like, really? You've just done that again? Oh my God, now come here and get over it. And let's have a cry and let's do it. But that's sort of okay, isn't it? You're not going to feel bad from that. You're going to feel okay. And so you tell them the story of what happened. You tell them the story. You're sitting there cradled in Merlin's arms, say, or Ellen's arms, you know, with her dear nose against you, feeling the soft fur on your face. And you're feeling all that. And you tell her the story of what happened. And telling out that story helps you live it, relive it, and be able to let it go as well. That it can dissipate from the telling. And in that dissipation, if you take it a bit like sort of particle physics, sorry about this, but I'm married to one. I've had it for breakfast, you know, with the cornflakes for, was it 47 years now? So particles going around my brain. Counts for a lot of things. Anyway, like in physics, like when you burn something particularly, all the atoms that made it up, all the atoms that sort of, made up this plastic thing of lip salve, they all get transmuted actually, back into the atoms that made them. So they're not this anymore. They are all the disparate atoms. And those disparate atoms can then go into, the cabbage you're going to have to eat, next year, the kittens your cat's about to have, or whatever. They go into other things. So you become part of other things. At least this bit does. Not the spirit that inhabits it, but this bit that inhabits what I call the spacesuit for planet Earth. And it's let go. And the same thing happens with the storytelling. You're able, through that telling, to allow it to go back all into its atoms again and be able to be rebirthed, remade into new, lovely, beautiful things. That's what students learn on the apprenticeship, and that's what storytelling helps them to learn. How the telling of a story helps something to not be this piece of solid rock inside your heart weighing you down, but to relax and go and dissipate, leaving you open, new and free to move on. Storytelling's big stuff. Our ancestors knew this. This is why they did it so much and used it so much. And it's all very well, we do get something out of watching stories on TV, and we can quite often live them as well. I'm sure everybody's lived stories of films that they see, or, series that they see on TV. And they've been one of the characters and living through it and the events and able to perhaps draw connections between what's going on for that character and what's going on for them. That's part of it. But it's much better when you learn how to tell stories yourself. It gets much bigger, and you still enjoy watching other people's and listening to other people's. Obviously, we all do. And it helps you to work with otherworld, because they work through stories, they work through songs, they work through all this imagination stuff. That doesn't mean it's not real. It means you've been able to image it within yourself and follow those images. Back to physics again. Einstein called that kind of thing thought experiments. Look where it got him. So next time somebody laughs at you for being over imaginative, throw that back, because people denigrate imagination now, which is a problem with stories and storytelling. And you shouldn't. It's vital. So we learn storytelling on the apprenticeship as a means of working with all the lessons that otherworld teach us over the year. The structured lessons, I say I'm not the boss of training that I do. I'm the chief executive officer. That the boss is my guides, who set me up for this and said, you're going to do this 4 years ago. You're going to do it. So, okay, I'm working for you guys. Back to the service again of this coming workshop. I'm working for you guys. Show me how to do it right. And so, because the world has changed, I've changed, people change, so it has grown and become better and more appropriate then, let's say that, to each year. And it has to be appropriate to each year. You can't churn out the same old stuff that you were doing in 1970 to people today. It won't work. You've got to do it different. The same principles are at the bottom of it, yes, but how you bring those stories to life inside the people, that changes and grows. So you learn a terrific amount about change on the apprenticeship. This is really useful. It's really useful in ordinary life. It's also really useful for those apprentices who want to go on and do the 3-year advanced course, the Rainbow Warriors. You need all this background. You need this basis of being able to journey, being able to not be afraid of things going wrong, of not being ashamed, of not being fearful all the time. Because apprenticeship is quite tough. It's great fun, but it's quite tough because it pulls everything out of you and helps you remake it into the real you, not the you you've been wearing most of your life up to then. And you need to be that in order to do the next level of stuff and the next level of learning and wisdom and knowings that the advanced course is going to bring you. And no, I'm not going to talk about that right now. You start off learning a lot about plants and about nature and about healing and how all the threads that you are now fairly accustomed to work and how you can help them work as they wish to work, whether it's in healing with people or healing land or gardens or in your job. You can do this stuff as a bank manager perfectly well, or a policeman. I've had both, and they did. Even had a stockbroker who did it well. Stop laughing, everybody. And so it's learning how to work with Ellen of the Ways, how to work with following the deer trods, how to find the deer trods, see the deer trods in everything in life. And not in the physical, but seeing them connecting the physical in the physical world, but connecting spirits across the physical world as well. The spirits of people, the spirits of animals, otherworldly beings, all of that. And discovering your true self very deeply, as you will in the apprenticeship. And then learning how to storytell so that you can share it out and grow it even more is such a fantastic thing to do. And it gives me such a lot of fun. And I've still got some places left on the apprenticeship. So I really like it if you apply, because I like to get people started in August, because there's quite a bit of preparation work to do to make sure you can take on the first lesson okay, and to get you all to know each other a bit as well. We might even be able to do some of that with real face-to-face as well as Zooms. We do a lot of Zooming, we do a lot of work on Facebook, and whenever we possibly can, we meet in the physical too. But of course, it's not been that easy this year. We've managed it a couple of times, but most of the time, no, we can't, or haven't been able to. So we found other ways, and they work. It's quite amazing. I was sort of like, I'm going to be able to do this, and it works. Because otherwise, that's saying to me, do it, get in there, learn how to Zoom, work on it. And I did. Talk about scared. I was like, and I was all sort of scrunched up. But I did it, and I've let go, and now I know. And yeah, I can get a lot better. Who can't? But I know how to do it so that it can work for the students. So wherever you are in the world, it works. I mean, I've got a couple of people from New York, and it's worked very, very well with them. We're hoping that they can get here. There's a chance that they can. So we're just fingers crossing on that. I've worked with people in Australia. I've worked with people in Europe. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be in this country. It's nice if you are, because we can get together more often. Because, flying over for the weekend from America is like, no. But where they can't, then I've learned how to do that on Zoom. Even with the storytelling, we did that on Zoom, and it's worked beautifully well. And the journeys and the sharings and all that sort of thing, it's worked really, really well. So I'm very confident of that now. Where a year ago I was like, ooh. But no, I know it works now, so I'm happy. And yeah, do come and learn your own story. Learn the story of the true you, and gradually tell it out in episodes as it goes along through your year as an apprentice. And watch all the threads from Otherworld coming and connecting, and your threads going out to Otherworld and this world and connecting. Find yourself talking to robins as you go out on a walk. Watch that stoat. She actually sits up by the hedge and looks at you, and you know she's talking to you. That owl comes down, sits on the tree. Woo! And you know that that was for you. And you actually know what he said to you. And yes, I was right to say he with who. She goes, kiwi, kiwi. He goes, woo! Actually, a good way to tell them apart. But do come. Learn storytelling. Learn to tell your own story. And learn to find out. Read the book of you. And find out. Because everybody's book, everybody's story, everybody's real self is so fascinating. You'll love it. And I'll love it too. And so will your colleagues. So I'm going to stop there. Hope you have a nice storytelling time for the rest of the week. I shall be back next Monday talking about, I have no idea what, but something. And so I will see you all again next Monday. Take care, everybody, and have a good week. Bye for now.